Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a topic that, let's be honest, touches almost every aspect of our lives: financial abundance.
Mm,
Specifically, we're kind of zeroing in on a question many of us have quietly pondered, maybe even, dreamt about.
yeah, that big one.
How do you genuinely transform a fluctuating, often stressful yearly income into something robust, predictable, and even growing month to month?
Right. Not just getting by, but actually thriving.
Exactly. It's not just about earning more, it's about creating stability and, well, freedom.
Yeah,
And this deep dive is all about uncovering the strategies to achieve exactly that.
that's right. And our guide for this exploration is a source called simply Transforming Income from Yearly to Monthly Abundance.
Okay.
And it's a fascinating document because it's not just like a collection of abstract financial theories.
Right. Not just concepts.
No. Instead, it presents a very clear framework of principles and, critically, it shares a vivid personal journey.
Ah, the story behind it.
Yeah, it outlines one individual's really compelling path from genuine financial struggle,
Huh?
experiencing the kind of stress many can relate to ultimately building substantial, lasting wealth.
Wow.
And the author directly attributes this transformation to applying very specific, actionable strategies and, perhaps most importantly, to a really profound internal shift in thinking.
And that, for you, our listener, is precisely our mission today. We're here to extract those essential nuggets of knowledge from this powerful source.
Get to the good stuff.
Yeah, our goal is to go beyond just the surface level tactics. We want to help you understand the fundamental mindset, the practical strategies, and, the real world application behind generating significant wealth.
Moving beyond the paycheck to paycheck cycle.
Exactly, moving far beyond what traditional earnings alone typically offer. By the end of this deep dive, you should walk away with concrete ideas and maybe a fresh perspective that you can truly apply to your own financial journey.
Hopefully.
Okay, let's unpack this because the personal story woven through the source material is truly captivating and I think incredibly relatable for many.
It really is.
It paints a picture of someone grappling with significant financial insecurity, struggling, just to make ends meet before eventually charting a course to substantial wealth.
A real turnaround.
What really stands out is that this success isn't presented as luck or some overnight windfall. The author explicitly credits their turnaround to applying the core teachings found in Napoleon Hill's timeless classic, Think and Grow Rich.
Right. That foundational text.
So for someone in deep struggle, what was maybe the most significant or challenging mental shifts they had to make based on Hill's philosophy as described in the source?
Well, what's fascinating here and what the source really emphasizes is that the journey began not with a new job or some clever investment, but with a foundational mindset shift.
Ah, starting internally.
Exactly. For someone facing financial hardship, the most challenging shift was often moving from that scarcity mindset, constantly focusing on what was lacking.
Which is easy to do when you're struggling.
Totally. Moving from that to one of abundance and possibility. Hill's work, as interpreted by the author, pushed them to cultivate this, like unwavering belief in their own capacity to create wealth, even when current circumstances seem totally contradictory.
That takes real effort, I imagine.
Huge effort. It wasn't about wishing. It was about defining a clear financial goal, developing an intense desire for it, and then, crucially, planning how to achieve it relentlessly.
Here, planning and belief.
Yeah. It highlights that success in wealth generation often starts with the internal belief system, establishing that mental framework before any external action can truly take root and be effective.
So it's not just about what you do, but how you perceive what's possible for you. That's powerful. And building on that idea of internal principles, here's where the source introduces something it calls the law of compensation.
Okay.
It's not some vague philosophical concept, right? The source presents it as a very direct equation, almost, tying your earnings, your financial compensation, to three specific measurable factors.
Like a formula for your income.
Almost, yeah. It feels like a scientific formula for understanding your income potential.
It absolutely is presented as a framework for understanding your market value. The law of compensation, as outlined in the source, breaks down your earning potential into three practical pillars.
Okay, what are they?
First, there's the need for one's work. How essential or in demand is your particular skill, your service, or the product you're offering?
Right. Is anyone actually looking for this?
Exactly. Are you solving a real, widespread problem for people? Think of it this way. A highly skilled AI prompt engineer today commands a very different compensation than someone with a less specialized skill that's easily outsourced.
Makes sense. High demand.
Because the market need is so high right now. That's the first pillar.
Okay, pillar one. Need. What's next?
Second, it's about your ability to perform it. This isn't just about having the talent, but about the quality, the effectiveness, and the consistency of your execution.
So how good are you really at it?
Precisely. Can you deliver what's needed and deliver it exceptionally well, maybe even better than others? The source offers the example of two sales professionals.
Okay.
One consistently exceeds targets, builds strong client relationships, solves problems proactively,
Oh,
versus another who just sort of meets quotas.
the bare minimum.
Right. The ability to perform at that high level directly correlates with higher compensation. That's pillar two.
Need, ability. Got it. What's the third?
And finally, the third pillar is the difficulty in replacing that person. How unique, how specialized, how indispensable are you in your role or with your offering?
Ah, the irreplaceability factor.
Exactly. If you possess rare skills, maybe proprietary knowledge, or a unique network that would be incredibly difficult for an organization or a market to replicate,
Your value goes up.
your value and thus your compensation naturally increases. The author's own journey, as described, really exemplifies this. They moved from a role where they were easily replaceable to developing a niche expertise that was highly sought after.
That makes intuitive sense. Need, ability, difficulty to replace.
Those are the three legs of the stool, according to this law.
And that last point, the difficulty to replace, really ties into something crucial the source stresses: continuous self-improvement.
Vital.
It emphasizes that this isn't just a nice-to-have for your career, but an absolutely vital, non-negotiable factor for increasing your value across all three of those compensation pillars.
Absolutely.
Now, for someone initially facing financial struggles, like the person in the source, how did they manage to prioritize and effectively pursue continuous self-improvement when time and, let's face it, resources might have been really scarce? And how does that directly feed into those three pillars?
That's a really critical question because continuous self-improvement can sound, well, daunting, maybe even expensive.
Right, like you need another degree or something.
Exactly.
Right.
But the source highlights that for this individual, it wasn't necessarily about enrolling in expensive degrees right away. It was about strategic, targeted learning.
Okay, so more focused.
Yeah, this meant devouring books related to their goals, seeking out mentors, even informal ones, attending free workshops or webinars, and, crucially, implementing what was learned immediately, applying it.
Actionable learning?
Yes. The source illustrates how they focused on skills that were directly tied to increasing market demand. Maybe learning a new digital marketing technique back then, or mastering a specific software that was becoming essential.
So practical stuff that boosts value.
Directly. And this self-improvement directly bolstered each pillar. By acquiring high-demand skills, they increased the need for their work, pillar one.
Mm-hmm.
By practicing and refining those skills, they enhanced their ability to perform it exceptionally, pillar two.
Better execution.
And by developing unique combinations of skills and experiences, they made themselves increasingly difficult to replace, become more of a specialist rather than a generalist. Pillar three.
Okay.
It's this powerful feedback loop. The more you improve, the more valuable you become according to the law of compensation, and the higher your potential earnings.
Okay, so if the law of compensation truly dictates our value, the next natural question is, how does the source then suggest we actively increase that value to transform our income from that yearly struggle to monthly abundance?
Right, the how-to.
It seems the next crucial step involves thinking beyond just a single paycheck and really embracing the idea of multiple income streams.
Yes, MSI.
The source emphasizes the absolute importance of multiple sources of income, or MSI. But here's the critical distinction it makes, and this is where I think many people get it wrong.
Oh yeah, this is huge.
It's explicitly not merely holding multiple jobs.
Absolutely not.
Many listeners might initially think, okay, earn more, get a second job. What are some of the hidden costs or downsides of that approach that the source highlights compared to true MSI?
This is a monumental distinction that the source really, really drives home. When people think more money, their first instinct is often more hours, which usually means picking up a second or maybe even a third active job.
The side hustle grind.
Right. But the hidden costs, as the source meticulously points out, are just immense. You're trading more of your finite, non-renewable time for linear income. 1 hour worked equals X dollars.
Yeah, you run out of hours eventually.
You absolutely do. This rapidly leads to burnout, stress, Huge sacrifices in personal life, relationships, health. And there's a hard ceiling on your earning potential because, like you said, you just run out of hours in the day.
You're just multiplying the treadmill.
Exactly. You're essentially creating multiple jobs for yourself, each demanding your direct, active input. You have to be there trading time.
Okay, so what's the alternative? True MSI.
True multiple sources of income, as the source describes it, operates on an entirely different principle.
Leverage.
Leverage.
Okay.
It's about making your time and effort go further, generating revenue without your constant, direct hourly input being required for every dollar earned.
So working smarter, not just harder.
Precisely.
Right.
Think about the individual in the book again. They leveraged their existing expertise to create, say, an online course once, and then sold it hundreds or thousands of times, generating income long after the initial creation effort was done. That's leverage.
Makes sense.
Or they might have made a strategic investment in a digital asset, maybe like a niche website that generates advertising revenue, or a small rental property that yields monthly income.
Things that work for you.
Yes, these are examples of leveraging skills, assets, or building systems that generate revenue while you're doing other things, maybe even while you're sleeping. This is key to genuine financial abundance because it scales beyond your personal time constraints.
That truly is an aha moment for so many of us, I think, who might have been stuck thinking the only way to earn more is to just work more hours.
It's a paradigm shift.
And this ties into another impactful critique made in the source. It asserts that traditional education, despite its many merits, often neglects teaching the fundamental principles of wealth generation.
Yeah, that's a controversial point, but one they make strongly.
It's something many of us feel, right? We might graduate, perhaps with an impressive degree, but with very little practical understanding of how to build actual wealth or diversify our income streams effectively.
Precisely. The source argues that while traditional education provides invaluable knowledge for specific professions and, critical thinking skills,
Oh, very important.
absolutely essential, but it often falls short in equipping individuals with the mindset, the strategies, and the practical tools for wealth creation in the real world.
It teaches you how to get a job, maybe?
Mostly, yeah. It focuses heavily on preparing people for employment, which is fundamentally about exchanging time for money rather than for entrepreneurship, asset building, or strategic financial independence.
So it leaves a gap.
It leaves many feeling unprepared for the realities of managing and growing personal wealth once they're out of the system.
Okay, so if education has this gap, what's the solution offered?
The solution offered by the source is quite direct and, frankly, challenging. It says individuals must learn, unlearn, and relearn to adapt to a changing global economy.
Learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
Yeah.
This isn't just about continuous professional development within your existing field, though that's important too. It's about a proactive, lifelong commitment to evolving your skills, understanding new market demands, and critically, discarding outdated financial paradigms.
Unlearning sounds key there. What kind of things need unlearning?
Unlearn means shedding old assumptions, like the idea that a single stable job is the only path to security, or that financial freedom comes solely from saving a small portion of your salary.
Challenging deep-seated beliefs.
Definitely. It's about being agile enough to pivot, acquire new knowledge, often outside traditional academic paths, and develop skills relevant to wealth generation today.
Like what?
Well, maybe understanding digital markets, learning how to build online businesses, mastering new investment strategies like understanding crypto or real estate syndication, whatever is emerging.
So staying current and adaptable.
Exactly. The author's journey specifically included unlearning the belief that their job was their sole source of security and relearning how to identify and capitalize on emerging economic opportunities. It's active, not passive.
So what does this all mean when we put these principles into action? We've got the law of compensation, the need for true MSI, not just jobs, the importance of continuous learning and unlearning.
Putting it all together.
Yeah. The source culminates by championing what it calls the ultimate game changer, investing in diversified income streams. It presents this not just as a good idea, but as the most effective method for accumulating substantial wealth. That's a strong statement.
It is.
This isn't just a suggestion. It's highlighted as the strategic imperative for real financial transformation. What makes this strategy so profoundly effective, beyond simply having, more money coming in from different places?
Well, the source makes it really clear that diversified income streams are not just about more money, though that's part of it. It's fundamentally about resilience, growth, and ultimately freedom.
Resilience, growth, freedom. Okay.
What makes it so effective is, first, it reduces dependency on any single source. That safeguards you against economic downturns, industry shifts, or, heaven forbid, job loss.
Spreading the risk.
Exactly. Second, it allows for compounding growth in a way single sources often don't. Income from one stream can be reinvested to start or grow another, accelerating wealth accumulation much faster.
Like a snowball effect.
Precisely. And critically, as some streams become more passive, it frees up your time. This allows you to focus on higher value activities, strategic thinking, or even just personal passions, rather than constantly trading hours for dollars.
That sounds like the goal.
And the source provides really compelling data on this. It states that this very strategy of diversified income streams is employed by a small percentage of the population, yet accounting for the vast majority of earned money.
Wait, say that again. A small percentage.
A small percentage of the population uses this strategy, yet they account for the vast majority of all earned money.
Wow. That's significant.
Think about that disparity for a moment. A tiny fraction of people are using this approach, but they're generating the lion's share of wealth.
So what does that imply?
It implies that real financial abundance isn't primarily distributed through traditional single-source employment models. It's heavily concentrated among those who understand and rigorously implement this powerful diversification strategy.
So it really challenges the conventional wisdom that just working harder at one job is the path to riches.
It absolutely does. It points towards structuring your financial life in a fundamentally different way. The author's initial steps in diversification, as the source describes them, were actually quite small but very intentional.
How small?
Maybe starting with just one freelance gig that leveraged an existing skill they already had, testing the waters, then reinvesting those few extra earnings into creating a simple digital product, and maybe much later moving into more complex assets.
So it builds gradually.
Yes, it highlights that it's usually a gradual, iterative process, not some immediate massive leap into being a tycoon overnight. It's about starting.
That statistic is genuinely eye-opening. A small percentage earning the vast majority through diversification.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. It challenges that conventional wisdom hard. So for someone listening right now, perhaps feeling a bit overwhelmed by where to even begin with diversification, because it's easy to hear diversified income streams and think, oh, that's only for people who are already wealthy.
Right, that requires huge capital.
Yeah. What's the first, most actionable step the source suggests they could take to move towards this approach?
That's a crucial point, and the source emphasizes starting small and manageable. The first step is often about identifying an existing skill you have, or knowledge, or even just a passion.
Something you already possess.
Exactly. Something that could potentially generate a second, tiny income stream, maybe just a few $100s a month to start. Something that doesn't require a massive investment of time or capital up front.
Like the author's first freelance gig.
Precisely. For the individual in the book, it started with a side project, leveraging a skill they already used in their day job, just applied differently. It was about testing the waters.
Proving the concept.
Yes. The goal isn't immediate massive wealth from stream number 2. It's proving to yourself that income can come from somewhere other than your primary job. That breaks a huge psychological barrier.
Ah, the mental shift again.
Always back to mindset.
Yeah.
This could be freelancing online, creating a simple digital download like a template or guide, maybe even monetizing a hobby like crafting or photography in a small way.
So manageable first steps.
The key is to start small, validate the concept, can I actually make some money doing this, and then build from there using that law of compensation to understand where your value truly lies in this new context.
Okay.
It really demystifies the idea that you need to be some kind of experienced entrepreneur or have a huge bankroll just to begin diversifying. You just need to start.
That really does make it feel much more accessible, doesn't it? Connecting that grand strategy back to a practical, even tiny starting point. So we've gone from this deeply personal story of overcoming struggle right through the foundational principles of how compensation truly works, revealing that your value isn't just arbitrary, it's based on need, ability, irreplaceability.
The law of compensation pillars.
Exactly. Then we move to the practical necessity of distinguishing between just having multiple jobs, trading more time, and building true multiple sources of income, emphasizing leverage over just hours worked.
The crucial difference.
And finally, landing on this powerful realization about diversified income streams as the strategic imperative, underpinned by that, frankly, surprising data about how the vast majority of wealth is actually accumulated.
It's quite a journey through these ideas.
It really is. It's a comprehensive roadmap, challenging traditional thinking every step of the way.
Definitely.
So, just to summarize what we've really uncovered in this deep dive for everyone listening, we began by understanding the foundational power of the law of compensation.
Weed, ability, difficulty to replace.
Right, showing us how our market value, driven by those factors,
Yeah.
directly dictates our earnings potential. Then we made that absolutely crucial distinction between simply having multiple jobs, which is about trading more time for linear income,
The burnout path.
and building true multiple income streams, which leverages assets and systems for scalable, potentially passive wealth.
The leverage path.
And finally, we highlighted the significant, really game-changing impact of diversified income streams as the most effective path to substantial wealth. And remembering that statistic, a strategy employed by a small percentage, yet accounting for the vast majority of earned money.
That stat really sticks with you.
It does.
And if we connect all this to the bigger picture, this deep dive isn't merely about financial mechanics or finding a quick way to make a few extra bucks on the side.
No, it feels much deeper.
It really is. It's about a profound shift in perspective. It's about understanding the underlying principles and the strategic approaches that a very small percentage of the population consciously leverage to achieve the vast majority of earned wealth. It invites you, our listener, to consider adopting that perspective for yourself.
Yeah.
To fundamentally rethink how you approach generating and accumulating financial abundance.
Moving from passive to active.
Exactly. It's a call to move from being perhaps a passive recipient of income from one source to becoming an active architect of your own financial future using these principles.
Exactly. And that brings us perfectly to our provocative thought for you to carry forward from this deep dive. If that small percentage of people account for the vast majority of earned money by consciously and strategically diversifying their income, what's one small actionable step you could take this week?
Just one small step.
Yeah, one small step to move from relying solely on a single income stream to exploring a second, even tiny path towards diversification.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a giant leap, like we said, just a single intentional step towards that potentially new financial reality.
Food for thought.
Definitely. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into transforming your income. We really hope you're leaving with some powerful new insights and maybe the motivation to take that first small step.